now we discuss about it should include branching, looping, and subroutines. So the implementation of any algorithm that can be used in a DSP that can be programmed with minimal or zero overhead error. Okay, so that here what we have considered underflow and overflow, that is avoided by using some saturation logic, introduction of guard bits into the accumulator so that accumulator size is increased or changed. So that is avoided. Next, a dedicated register should be used and it can be used as a counter. Normally, when we use any value which is stored in a counter for any operation where the samples are more and these samples are stored in consecutive memory locations, so we go with the counter. So that is what controlling operation which is done using a counter. Next, in a normal subroutine, like subroutine is nothing but a subprogram written to perform some task. So a return address which is required that is to be stored in a stack, thus requiring memory access. And for storing the data and as well as retrieving the data which may be the address. So that is what we consider. Then what we have is a program control. So like a microprocessor, DSP also requires a control unit. So it has to also perform any control operations and also generate a timing signals which are required for proper execution of the instruction. In a microprocessor, the controlling is micro-coded. So that is a micro program what we normally consider where the instruction gets divided into micro instructions. Okay, so the instructions are divided and they are stored in a micro memory location. They are termed as a micro store or a micro code. So this is a set of instructions which are written in a microprocessor. A micro store or a micro code are not accessible by a programmer. The programmer or the processor is designed such a way that the control unit can access them during the execution of an instruction. So a processor can be designed in such a way that only a control unit can access the micro stored program or a micro code. Then the advantage of this, that is easy to design and implement as less hardware is required. Disadvantage is the low speed of execution of an instruction as execution of the each instruction implies fetching the code from microstore and decoding them. So that is what we normally do, fetching and decoding. So that is a basic operation what we do before execution of any instruction. So the mechanism here which is occupied by this DSP device is slower. So it is not applicable for DSP application. So hence the DSP is a controlling application using a hardware based application. So each instruction of the DSP will act as a control lines to the hardware control unit and hence resulting control and timing signals which are generated to complete any given instruction and its execution. So that is what we do. We take an instruction, we decode it, then we execute it, and along with that, certain control and timing signals are also generated by the system. And the advantage of this is instruction execution time is much faster as compared to micro-coded design. So that is what we consider micro-coded design instruction is a set of instruction written, but the speed of that micro-coded design is very less. So we go with the instruction execution time. And coming to the disadvantage, we have high hardware complexity of this, and it is very difficult to change the design of a control unit in this process. So hardware complexity is important when we take up an issue for this control unit. Then we have a program sequencer. It is just a part of a control unit which is used to generate the instruction address. So that is what we use in a as a part of control unit, which is a program sequencer. It calculates the address of the next instruction which is to be fetched, and the next address can be from any of these following sources. One may be a program counter. The program counter may give or specify the next address of any instruction, or instruction register if it is a case of a branching or looping or subroutine calls. And for any interrupt operation to be done, we have an interrupt vector table and a stack register or a stack holder which can hold the return address. So that is a program sequence. When we look into the block, we can see that it includes a multiplexer wherein all the addresses are multiplexed from a stack pointer or a stack register Then interrupt vector table, which is normally dependent on the interrupt, whether it is required in a program or a process. Then a stack operation to be done, and the instruction decoding and execution process, and increment or decrement operation which is done. Here we come across a PC increment, because the address of the next instruction is nothing but the increment of the particular or the present address. So that is giving us the program sequencer, which is having all these address which are multiplexed together. Then program sequencer should have the following circuits. One is the PC has to be updated for every fetch or after every fetch of an instruction. And counter is required to hold the count in case of a looping process. Whenever there is a looping operation which is done, where we require some data to be stored in a counter and it starts to decrease. So that is what we consider as a counter. And a logic block to check conditions of a conditional jump instruction. So that is what we require, followed by a status flag register, where we get the condition of any flag depending on the logical operation which is carried out. Then comes the speed issues. So this is very important when we go with the DSP implementation. So faster execution of algorithm is very essential requirement of a DSP architecture. So DSP architecture must include a feature that will facilitate a high speed of operation and large throughputs. So that is, these are the two major factors why we go with the architecture of DSP regarding the speed issues. So some of the features that can increase the execution speed of DSP are the architecture usage, that is hardware architecture what we are going to use, that is dependent. The other one is a parallelism and a pipelining. So the speed mainly depends on these three factors, where we can increase the execution speed by properly selecting an hardware architecture, and the operations such as parallel instruction execution or the instruction which are execution done in pipeline. So high speed of operation can be achieved in DSP by the provision of parallelism. So parallelism in general means it is several things which are done at a time. So functions units or the functional units may operate in parallel, and thus increases the throughput. Like functional units is nothing but adder and multiplier and some other units along with this can perform all the operations in parallel. So which increases the speed of operation in general. So for example, instead of the same arithmetic unit being used to the computation of data and address, a separate address arithmetic unit can be provided to take care of the address computation. It means that instead of using a single data and address buses calculation using the same arithmetic unit, we go for two different arithmetic units which can use for this addresses. So that is a separate arithmetic unit can be used, so that parallel operation among these arithmetic units can happen. So if I consider the main arithmetic unit, it can concentrate on the data computation alone, thereby increasing the throughput. It cannot use the time for any address calculation. It can just go with the data which is required in the program. So another example may be the provision of multiple memories and multiple buses to fetch an instruction. So that is what we consider as an example. There must be a provision of multiple memories and multiple buses, so that parallel operations are performed using these buses and memories, which can fetch an instruction and the operand simultaneously. There is no need of fetching and the data and the address separately, so simultaneously it can be done. So by parallelism, the following operations can be performed in a single clock cycle. So one is fetching the instruction and the data, multiple data required for the computation. So that is very easily done. Shift of data as they are fetched in order to accomplish scaling. So scaling can be easily done. Carrying out a multiplication operation on a fetched data. So that is what very important task which is required, multiplication and addition. Then comes the addition, add the product to the previously computed result in the accumulator. So that is where the accumulator plays a very important role in multiplication as well as accumulating the result, or what we call it as the intermediate data or the result. Save the accumulator contents in the memory storage if required. So that is what we require. If the memory contents are required to be saved, so that can be easily saved, and the accumulator content can be used by the MAC unit for further calculating any process of addition or multiplication. Then compute a new address for the instruction and data required for the next operation. So that is where we require a new address for the instruction and the data which is required for the next operation to be done. So whenever I go with the parallelism, the first thing what we have to note is several operations can be done in a single clock cycle. That is the main benefit of using the parallel operation or parallelism. And the other thing is the usage of a separate arithmetic units. So that is very important when you go to parallelism. Separate arithmetic units are used and they are required to perform several operations and they are done simultaneously or parallelly. So that is the process used in a parallelism. And fetching the instruction and the multiple data which is required for the computation. So that is very important, fetching the data, instruction and the multiple data, because hence we are using several arithmetic units or logic arithmetic units, separate units. Parallel operations can be done like fetching the instruction and fetching the multiple set of data which are required for say addition or any multiplication process, which are the samples of a signal, samples obtained from a signal. Then shifting a data. So whenever we perform any operation to be done, we might require a data which is to be shifted, and there might be a requirement of scaling. So scaling has to be done whenever we want to shift a data and whenever we want to add it to a particular value or a data. Then carrying out a multiplication operation on a fetched data. Once the data is fetched, the multiplication operation has to be done, and this multiplication operation can be done with the help of the parallel unit, which is another arithmetic unit. Then add the product to the previously computed result in the accumulator. So it is nothing but the usage of MAC unit, that is multiply and accumulate unit. So product of the previously computed result will be stored in the accumulator, and once the addition is performed and the result is stored in the accumulator, we will get that particular product and we are going to add the product to the previously stored result in the accumulator. That is say for example a plus bc. So bc is nothing but a product or multiplication done, and the product is stored in the accumulator, and the next data is fetched from the accumulator or any register, and once the data is obtained or fetched from the register, it is added to the product term, that is bc. For example, if we take a is the content in the auxiliary register ar, then the content from the auxiliary register AR, that is A, is added with the content which is a product which is stored in the accumulator, that is BC. So we will have A plus BC. So that is normally done in a MAC unit. Then save the accumulator contents in the memory if required. So once the accumulator gets a result after adding a product term along with the value or a number or a data, the data is to be saved. The result is saved in the accumulator and it is stored in a memory. And if it is required, then it can be used for further addition or multiplication process. Because whenever we go with the DFT, we require say previous sample requirement is there for the next calculation, or for the upcoming calculation of say x, we require previous values of x, that is small x and capital X, what we generally denote for a time sequence and discrete Fourier sequence. So that is what we consider here, and computing a new address for the instruction and the data if it is required for the next operation. So along with this operation like a plus bc, if I consider, along with that I can compute a new address for the instruction and the data which is required for the operation. So that is very much required. Just to calculate a new address for the instruction, we require the arithmetic unit, which can be even a program counter or even any other block in the architecture can be used here. Then the data is required for the next operation, either to get the new address for the instruction or the data required for the next operation which can be carried out here. So that is what we consider under the process of parallelism.